Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Thursday, November the 3rd, 2022. I'm Brian, and this is the Managed Comics Thought Stream. And it's been a while. It's been a minute. So we did our final like live thought stream about a month ago or so. And then we did kind of a recorded one, and now we're back with our first live one since then. Hey, we've got Endgame Comics and Collectibles and Mike Miller from Cosmic Capes Comics. Hello, everyone. I'm going to do a little housekeeping before we jump into our fun about point of sale. And I've actually brought Ivan, who has more experience with point of sale, although it's about 6 to 8 months old right now. But before we jump into everything, let's just talk a little housekeeping. So, to follow us on all our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all those places. This week we actually posted a couple times. So since we haven't done this for a while, let's talk about some of the stores we have been spotlighting recently. There's Wonderberries Comics, who are in Hawaii. We actually built their website for them as well. So we will build Shopify websites if you're looking for a nice little Shopify upgrade. We're still working on our own theme. This one used Dawn. We also use Expanse or Warehouse often. So if you're looking for an upgrade, it gives Ivan something to do and keeps him off the streets. Before that, we talked about Madness, our friends Madness Comics in Denton, Texas. They're often on the Thought Stream. Maybe they're right there lurking today. We talked Amazing Comic Fever, who are in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. We spotlighted the Iron Lion, who's also a Binder Paws customer. This week we talked about C3 Comics, located in Regina, who I think is also a Binder Paws customer. Sorry, that was last week. This is Millie from Halloween. She's our super pup. We celebrated our 7th anniversary on November 1st. Very exciting. I wasn't sure if Managed Comics was still going to be around in 2020. And I'm really glad that we pivoted and really focused on helping stores stay alive during the pandemic. We paused all of our payments for 3 months as we kind of took over, basically helping stores. One, we made some adjustments to Managed Comics Classic so that they could invoice people right from the system. And then the second thing we did was we helped them get onto Shopify, which was kind of phase one of when we realized that we should rebuild Managed Comics in Shopify. So it was kind of late 2020 that we had that epiphany that we needed to rebuild the entire system. It was a year ago about now. We were in 6 stores just kind of beta testing a year ago. And then we did that until December, went live for about 30 stores. And now we're in 107 stores as of this morning. Plus, we have around 70 other stores that are still using our classic products. So hopefully I can get a bunch of those folks moved over to 2.0, because I think it's just a way better system. And we've got a bunch of integration things going on that hopefully will make that an even easier call. And then last week we brought on the Multiverse, who is a Managed Comics Classic store, and they came on to 2.0. We did our product imports with them and subscription imports with them, and it went smoothly. So I'm really, really happy about how that one went. So that's catching you up on a month's worth of social media updates that we just did. Oh, that's lovely. We got somebody we need to block. Girls 18 dating, folks. If you are a Managed Comics 2.0 customer, we have a survey that we've sent out. If you haven't taken this survey, please do. There's a lot of stuff that we're learning off of it. Some of it is like we asked what kind of a community you guys want, and it's overwhelmingly been Facebook groups. So we'll probably start getting that running this week. We've had one available for a while. We've just never promoted it. So I think we're definitely gonna. I got to figure out how to do that. Atlantis says they're looking forward to moving over to 2.0 at Atlantis. Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about. You guys have got two unique features. One of them, your multi-store, although we could do it for separate stores, but the problem is your website is only for one store. So we would have to do a multi-store single location. And the other thing is Lightspeed, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Yeah, so the big two things here are, even though we have our voting system in place, we also have kind of votes available here in this. So we took kind of the 10 or 15 highest rated items out of our list, and then we are letting people vote for them first, second, and third. And what I basically do with that is we have a weighting system. So whenever a first, second, or third vote gets put in, if it's a first, we weight it at 5. If it's a second, we weight it at 3, and a third place is weighted at 1. And then we sum the totals up and create a weighted total. What's interesting is these weighted results are not far off from the overall, like, what would you like to see most? So they're fairly close. Um, so that just tells us we're probably on the right track. Also, a couple of these, and I won't tell you which ones, are already in the works. So they're kind of almost moot, but it's good that we kind of have validation. And it just so happens to be that this one here is one of the ones that we're just in the final touches of kind of rolling out, and then storylines will be the thing that we do next. So we're not too far off. But this will definitely affect the other things that we're working on. I just wanted to validate, whether or not these are good ideas or not. Moving along, if you are not a managed comics customer, we sent out a question, just one question: what point of sale system are you using? The reason we are asking this question is I've had 3 calls with Lightspeed over the last 2 weeks. I've got another call tomorrow with an integration specialist. We want to figure out whether or not we can integrate into Lightspeed. Lightspeed integrates with Shopify, but it does so in a one-way system. It goes Lightspeed to Shopify. And if you update things in Shopify, like add new products, that does not come back to Lightspeed. So we're going to take a look and see if there's a way that we can integrate somehow. We may have to create our own plugin in Shopify that would do this, or we may be able to figure out a way to integrate directly with Lightspeed. In any case, whatever we figure out, I'm pretty excited about the next steps with that. But yeah, I'd also like to know, who's using Comic Hub or Comic Suite or Square POS. We actually have the ability now to sync with Square POS. So I had a conversation with ShopFox, and these guys have an auto sync application or app for Shopify. It's reasonable. It's $50 a month. So if you're using Square and you want to add Shopify and sync up, that's definitely something you can do fairly easily now. This was really tough before. So yeah, finding out what people are using is important. Next piece of housekeeping. We added 2 new features last week, and they're not really features so much as kind of tweaks or fixes. So the first one is, as a store, I'd like the customer view of FOCs to be cut off on Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, because both Lunar and Diamond now have cutoffs that are like Sunday. We decided that we would cut off all of the FOCs on Saturday at 11:59. It's just easier to do everything at once than it is to pick and choose by distributor, because distributors sometimes overlap. So if we were to say, Penguin Random House on Friday afternoon, but Lunar on Thursday afternoon, but now what do you do about, trade paperback? So having one cutoff simplifies things from a coding perspective. And as an admin, you can still adjust things. It'll just mean that the communication to customers is you got to get this in by midnight on Saturday so that I can do any order adjustments on Sunday. I've had a couple people say we'd really like it if we could adjust this ourselves. So maybe make it Friday night or something like that. Um, that sounds nice, but it's not easy. So it's kind of on the distant backlog. The next thing was, as a customer, I only want to be able to pre-order upcoming items with future FOC dates. There was a weird instance where if there were two comics that came out within a week of each other, for some reason they were sharing FOC dates. We fixed that. There was a weird bug and one that we didn't really expect to see. So now it's solved. I think it was like if you had if the next issue, no, if the current issue had an FOC, yeah, I don't even know. It was stupid and it got squashed. So that bug's gone. So that kind of puts us up to date on what we've been working on. We are still in the midst of getting Managed Comics Order Helper approved through Shopify. It was rejected 3 days ago because on November 1st, Shopify added a new ability to categorize your apps, which used to be something they did for you. Now they make the app developer do it. So on November 1st, they rejected our app because we didn't have a category, even though we requested approval for our app on like October 25th. And that wasn't even an option back then. So we had to pull it out, add a category, and resubmit it. So now it's anybody's guess when we'll get approved. I don't know why I'm choking here. All right. I'm going to bring Ivan in and we are going to talk point of sale. Hey, Ivan, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
First time they rejected because we gave away Superman's identity. That is a true story. In the screen grabs that I supplied to Shopify in the first go round, there was email addresses that were obviously fake. They were Clark Kent at managedcomics.com and Lois Lane at managedcomics.com, and they rejected us because we were giving away sensitive information, which we can only surmise was because we gave away Superman's secret identity, which is almost funny, but I don't think they were being funny.
They definitely were not.
Ivan, I hate them. I hate them so much. Let's talk a little point of sale. And you know what? I was gonna actually, when I started this thing, I was gonna start it out nice and clean. So I will start it out clean. So this is kind of what your point of sale will look like when you first log into the Shopify point of sale. The very first thing I do, because I'm a nerd, is convert it to dark mode because I just think it looks better. So I always go dark mode. And then the next thing I usually do is I will edit the home screen to add a couple tiles. So you can click on the add tile, then app, and it'll show you all your apps that you have in your system. So we have, oh, isn't that neat? Draft Order Helper is actually a new Managed Comics Draft Order Helper app that we're working on. I didn't know that they had added it to my long box. So I'm going to add the Managed Comics 2 subscriptions and the Managed Comics Order Helper. And then we save that, and now I have one click into either Managed Comics 2 subscriptions or the Order Helper. Are there any like kind of tiles that you added by default, Ivan? when you were running this kind of stuff?
I had a shop discount. I had a bag and board button,
Right.
and we items like that we didn't really have barcodes for, like stickers
Hmm.
and dice.
So you just do something like that, like shop discount 10%. And what was the other one you said?
Bag and board,
Oh, bag and board. Yeah. So
single
would that be,
die.
how would you do that? Like a product?
Yeah. We created a product, uh, bag and board, and
So you would create the product and then you just add it to your to a tile. That's
yep.
smart. Cool. And then you'd be able to quickly add a bunch of bags and boards. That's actually one of the questions on our list is should we have like the option for you to add a bag and board? Am I not sharing my screen?
Uh,
I'm not. Why am I not sharing my screen? 1 second.
I was trying to pull up YouTube to see if it was just the back end that wasn't showing it.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's hilarious.
Now we
Thank
got
you
to
so
go
much,
back
Mike.
and re-show that stuff.
So yeah, let me go back in and delete everything. And we'll start that from scratch. So I thought I was sharing my screen. So in the Shopify point of sale, the very first thing I always do is I go into settings, and then I'll go into dark light mode. And by default, I think it's set into use device settings. But I'm not a big fan of the white mode because I think it looks anemic. So I changed the settings to dark mode. And then the next thing I'll do is add tiles. So you go into add tile, app. I'm going to add a manage comics one, and I'll add the manage comics order helper. And then Ivan was saying that he would add a discount, say a percentage 10, and call it maybe subscriber count. And
Another
then you
two
have,
tabs. Another one tab I added. I had created a employee only page on our Shopify page
yep.
that had access to the pull to the special order list and other web page links, etc.,
Okay.
and our own little help book.
Cool. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, you could have like a kind of employee manual right in there.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
with the Manage Comics tab, if I click on that, it's going to pull up Manage Comics. So if I've got a customer that comes up to the cash register and I need to, really quickly update their list, I can get in there. And so you've got left, right scrolls when you're on the part of the list. And like, let's say they wanted to drop Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths as of issue 6. I just click on the little edit thing and say final pull, which means that number 6 will be the final pull. Likewise, if I want to add something, I can just do a search for an item. What's a new series that came out this month? Come on, you do all the storylines.
Spider-Man Dark Web. Is that this month?
I love it. So you can search for all the dark web stuff, and we can subscribe them to the A cover of Dark Web X-Men. So yeah, it's that easy to get in there. You can also look at their orders, so you can take a look for somebody's particular order. You can check on their pre-orders. So if you want to find a specific pre-order, the easiest way to find your pre-orders though is by going into the customers and looking at the pre-orders on the customer. It'd be a lot easier than searching for them on the all pre-orders screen.
Since you're on this view and we have a few new shops, do you want to go over the start date on new polls?
Sure. How do you mean?
The question we had yesterday with Excalibur.
Okay, yeah. So the question was if you were to add, what did I just add?
Dark web,
right? And I wonder who I added it to. Oops. It's one of the perils of this thing is. Was it Cassian Andor? Who did I add dark web to? Luke Cage. I'll bet you it was Luke Cage. Yeah, it was.
He gets all the new comics.
So to make sure that he gets the current dark web number 1, because really we subscribed him for dark web number 3, which is the next one available on FOC. I would actually have to go back in time. Now, this isn't the best way to do this right now. At some point, we need to kind of get in here and change this. First of all, that shouldn't say Dark Web X-Men number 1. It should just say Dark Web brackets 2022 cover A. And
that'll
then
be fixed with storylines.
What's that?
That'll be fixed with storylines, right?
Well, yeah, we've got to fix it in the works for changing this view entirely, because this actually shouldn't say Batman the White Knight number 7 blah, blah blah. It should actually say Batman the White Knight brackets 2022, or Batman Beyond the White Knight brackets 2022 cover A. And then really in a perfect world it would say the start issue is the next issue they're going to get is number 7. For Dark Web X-Men, what it should be telling you is the next issue he will get is number 3 because it was added after FOC. It gets really confusing, and I understand that. So we are making that change at some point soon. We've got a backlog of little changes like this that I want to kind of roll out all at once. But yeah, it's super confusing. It sucks right now. Yeah, I could even do my cloning of subscriptions and stuff like that through this interface if I wanted to. That's interesting. I wonder why Cimmerian Frost Giant's daughter and Maneaters, all these Cimmerians shouldn't be showing up on the active list. We're going to have to take a look at that. Make a note, Ivan. Make a note to look at the Cimmerians.
Yes.
We'll get back out of this, though. So the next kind of thing will be the order helper. So once the order helper launches through Shopify, super easy, really. You click on the little link there. The second time that you load this thing, it's a lot faster than the first time. So the first time you load it every day, it's going to be pretty slow. But once you've loaded it, it will be fast. And by slow, I mean you saw how long it took. It was a couple seconds. So I'm going to bring in Luke Cage's order. He has a $125 order. And just for fun, we're going to just pretend that he's picking up all these things. The very first thing that we're going to modify immediately after launch, because I can't do it right now, is we're going to add pull dates with everything. So if it's something that is like not available to be sold until tomorrow, so you did your pulls on Monday for your lunar items that aren't available until Tuesday, it'll say like, pull date was Monday. So I'm going to go ahead and bring all these in. Now, I don't want to do this until we get approved just because it could cause some problems. This is a fairly large order. It's going to take a couple seconds for everything to go over. We'll just wait awkwardly, staring into our customer's eyes intensely. But as you saw in a couple seconds, that's a huge order. It all came over here. Of course, this time. Yeah, no, they're all right. And it's going to take a second for things to come across. So we will see a few things are sold out. But if we keep watching this Captain Marvel, it's going to update in a few seconds. You can see that it's going through and adding discounts to some items that didn't have discounts. So we're seeing our total change. You just have to give it a couple seconds. Again, while you stare intently into your customer's eye, and then you will see this Captain Marvel get updated in a couple seconds again, because what it's actually doing behind the scenes is adjusting the stock levels. So even if you were to check this out right now on the point of sale, you can sell things that are not sold out, and this job is still going to go on in the background. But to be even more fun, I'm actually going to have him remove, for whatever reason, he didn't want to pick up his Spider-Mans this week. And I said to him, listen, I understand you don't want to pick up your Spider-Mans, but, I've already paid for your Spider-Mans, and I'd really appreciate it if you would pay for your Spider-Mans. But Luke Cage is kind of a jerk and decided not to.
As per our verbal agreement.
Right? I buy things for you. You pay for those things. So I'll check that out. And in a couple seconds, if I go back into my Manage Comics order helper and pull up Luke Cage, it's going to take a little while for this to refresh, but this whole order will refresh in a few minutes with just the things that are left over. And it takes between 1 and like 60 seconds for that to happen. But it has consistently happened every time, except for the time that I'm on TV, right? Or I'm on the internet. That's interesting. So a few things didn't pull over when I wondered, had I unchecked things? But we can see these amazing Spider-Mans are there. So you do have to kind of go through and verify that everything was in the original order. And if they're not, then you just bring them in and you can remove them later. So if Luke Cage decided he didn't want to get those amazing Spider-Mans, I can individually delete those completely now out of his order. Again, I chastise Luke Cage for not picking up the books that he committed to buying that he now doesn't want. But, he says that he doesn't like Dan Slott writing anymore. So whatever, Luke Cage. So now those are gone completely, and our inventory will get updated with the copies that were originally reserved. One question we get a lot is, why are there subscription and then non-subscription products? So if I can, it's been a while since I've busted into the so the reason there's two different versions is because the one that says subscription is not available on the online store. And the idea behind that is that you can have something that's reserved and not have, there's no concept for reserving products in Shopify right now.
You can't tell Shopify that you have 5 issues held back.
Exactly, yeah. We are resolving that problem ourselves in the next few months. The guys are actually working on an app right now that will let us reserve product and only create one SKU. But it's going to be, it's a bigger project than just, one of our simple 2-week sprints. this is a multi-week, multi-month sprint that we're building it as its own standalone app, and then we're going to integrate that technology into Managed Comics and sell it separately as a standalone app to non-managed comic stores, because this is the number one requested thing on all of Shopify. That's kind of most of the. I mean, the point of sale is super easy in a nutshell. You have your scanner, which I'll turn on. So we use the Socket mobile scanner. And Ivan, there was something tricky about this scanner, right? Like
There's a few tricky things with that scanner. Firstly, to get it to do the Bookland +5 or EAN 13 +5, you have to scan. You have to train it. That barcode is in our help files, so you'd need to scan that in to teach it how to read graphic novels, basically, old graphic novel UPCs.
So the +5 are the last 5 digits on a UPC code, which actually indicates which issue,
Sequence,
cover ID, and printing it is. And the last two are kind of not always true, because the like Marvel, when they do 32 covers and you have just one digit, so they kind of hijack the 5th digit in order
Dynamite has decided to just kind of do their own thing.
Yeah, it's really confusing. But we've programmed this little socket scanner to do that. So if I pop into here and scan this guy, of course I didn't actually add this product to my store. So, but if that product was in the store, you'd see it show up here really quickly. So yeah, you can use this scanner to scan in your products really fast. Some people have said it doesn't work perfectly.
No, it can be temperamental. I'm curious to know something. I hope I don't confuse anybody with this. Could you do me a favor and open up our app on the iPad there?
Sure.
And scan in. Try to scan something in, or better yet, the products page. Not even our app.
Yeah, I don't think that'll work.
I don't think so either. But then again, it's going through the POS, so maybe it will. That's why I wanted to check.
How can I get to products? So you're saying to click on the little.
So load up the web page through the POS.
Beep boop. Yeah, so I don't think it'll work, because this is the whole.
Yeah, that's the annoying thing about those scanners, and why I highly suggest getting a regular one if you have a computer on site that you use for putting in inventory.
Oh, that does work in the products.
Well, it should work through all the regular POS stuff. Yeah.
Let's find out. That would be cool.
Because I never thought about that until now, that might be a workaround.
No, of course not. So the interesting thing about this scanner is that it uses a different protocol. It's using, what was it? We found this out just recently. It uses like a iOS protocol instead of a like Bluetooth scanning protocol. So it is communicating directly with the Shopify POS, and that's for safety. It's like to make sure that it doesn't, talk to bad apps, basically. So yeah, I have a $72, and that's like $40 US Bluetooth scanner that I got on Amazon, which I use with Managed Comics, and I can use it on my iPad or on my computer. Works wonderfully. And so yeah, I have 2 scanners, which isn't unheard of, but it'll work for your kind of Managed Comics check-ins for sure. And it's safer from a like, what's that called, security standpoint. to have that like that. Yeah, that's kind of the POS in a nutshell. Look, I made you small. How did I make you small? Ooh, I can make us both big. Ooh, that's fun. What else you got to say, Ivan?
We are diligently working on data fixes and working on special tools to make my job easier. And hopefully you've not noticed that I've been QCing the FOCs every week to make sure items show up. Since there is an issue.
Said, sorry, tape delay. What scanner do you have exactly? Does it handle both comics and trades? So for the point of sale, we're using the Socket Mobile 2700, I think. And
you just have to train it to read the supplemental codes. And that barcode is on our help file.
I'm about to share. So if you go to help.managecomics.com, which, by the way, 53% of the people who responded to our survey said they do not use help.managecomics.com. And let me give you a strong piece of advice. Please use the help stuff that we've written hundreds of articles for. Yeah, we've even got the thing that will let you train your scanner. So depending on how bright your how shiny your screen is, this may work. You may have to print it out and play. If you're using one that you buy off of Amazon or whatever, you will have to enable something called auto discriminate UPC EAN with supplementals. And basically that is the final 5 digits of both comics and books. So that is the magic word that I've found works on every POS scanner that I've had to use so far. If I start
Bookland plus 5 is kind of hit or miss on if they call it that.
Yeah, it's going to be something like auto discriminate with, or it may be UPC EAN supplementals or supplemental UPC. I've also seen it called UPC EAN plus 5. So you'll find it something like that when you're looking around. And again, before you buy, look up the manual and see if they have that information. And if that information is in the manual, then you're pretty safe to buy that scanner.
And if you don't see it in the manual, contact them. For instance, that barcode right there that we have in the manual, I got that by contacting the company directly and asking how to do that because I couldn't find the code.
This one here, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So often they'll reply back with the exact code that you need to get this done. We've reached out to the A2 scanner people that a lot of binder pause stores use. And I'm hoping to hear back from them. I heard back the initial question, which was like, what is your serial number so that I can tag this help ticket or something? But luckily I had 5 serial numbers to give them. So hopefully one of those will let me do what I need to do. Yeah, some of the Geek Fetch stuff. So we've actually recently taken Geek Fetch kind of offline so that not everyone can get access to it. But let me just log into the secret Geek Fetch headquarters here. And I'll show a couple of fun little things that we've been working on behind the scenes. Guess I don't need to keep the tape delay problem up. So we've been working on storylines for ages. We're also working on series titles, which reminds me, White Knight. I just noticed the other day that one of the White Knights, this one, is missing the 2022. So now it has 2022. Look at how awesome we are. Look at that. It looks like we'll have to do the same thing for Harley Quinn. That was a 2022 series, right?
Might have been tail end of 21 when it started.
I guess I could have actually looked at the individual issues.
No, it was January. I'm pretty sure that the first issue was January.
Yep. What? That says 20. Oh, so it was 2020. See how easy that is to update? So yeah, now you just saw some of the sausage being made. So we have, it looks like 10,000 series, and Ivan and I go through and review them and update them as we see things that need to be played with. Storylines, Ivan's been creating things like Dark Web and Banner of War and Dark Crisis, so he's been updating those every month. I'm hoping that we get our storyline stuff up and running shortly, because there's that Sinister thing that just got announced this month, so we should get that going. What is that called? Sinister War? Or it's basically the Age of Apocalypse for Mr. Sinister. So yeah, that's all stuff that we're working on behind the scenes as well. So next time that we talk to you, I think I'm probably going to do a review of our survey. So we'll go through some of kind of the findings that we've found. By and large, people say that managed comics is incredibly helpful. We have one person that is extremely not satisfied with managed comics, so that person I'll be reaching out to on my own time to have a conversation, and hopefully we can figure out what's wrong. Often what I find is it's a couple simple things that we can do to make things better, and if they're easy to do, we'll just crank them off and get them done, right? So we try and be as responsive as we can. If you do send an email to help@managedcomics.com, the two people you're going to get are on the screen right now. It's either me or him. Yeah, we answer like 95% of the emails. So,
and again, I say, if you have any questions, if you're unsure about a workflow, contact us. I will, if you want, I'll shoot you a Zoom link, and we can share screen. I can walk you through it till you're comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. Ivan
is absolutely happy to do that.
Ivan's great with walking people through things, and as a former store manager, he has a lot of kind of insight that I don't have. So I really appreciate that. In the meantime, if you're looking for an upgrade to your Shopify store, let us know. We can give you a couple options on how to do that. We go in there and modify a lot of things based on the information that Managed Comics provides. So we can, update collections and things like that for you as well. But that's just kind of our side gig. That's, just something we do to keep Ivan off the streets.
I even made my own mini app that's unofficial.
That's true. Actually, he created an app so that he could create collections quickly on his own.
It used to take literally an hour and a half if I was doing it quickly.
Yeah. Ivan's the type of people I like because he's just a little bit lazy, like not in a bad way, just doesn't like doing the same things over and over again.
Well, the whole thing about computers is they're supposed to do the stupid things we don't want to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I call that smart and gets things done. So
that's why you create batch files.
That's right. I appreciate you. All right, I think that's going to do it for us for this time, folks. Tune in 2 weeks. I believe it is November 17th. We'll be back. And so, yeah, please tune in on November 17th, where we'll be talking about the results of our survey. We'll probably talk a little bit about what our next steps are with Lightspeed and or multi-store. And yeah, all kinds of other great things. So in the meantime and in between times, keep selling comics. Thanks, guys.